How did a girl from a one-room cabin in Tennessee build a $650 million empire? At 79, she owns a fleet of luxury cars, runs a theme park empire, and earns millions yearly in royalties. But her boldest move: saying no to Elvis. Today on Lifeofluxuro, we dive deep into the jaw-dropping lifestyle of the Queen of Country, Dolly Parton, her personal life, homes, cars, businesses, and the truth behind her fortune. Net worth and business. Acumen. Have you ever wondered how a young girl from a one-room cabin in the mountains of Tennessee could build a global empire worth over $500 million? As of 2025, Dolly Parton's estimated net worth stands at a staggering $650 million, a figure that speaks not just to a legendary music career, but to a level of business genius that could rival any Wall Street tycoon. This isn't just about hit songs. It's a story of shrewd ownership, brilliant diversification, and a deep understanding of her own brand. The foundation of this fortune, as you might expect, is her music. Dolly owns nearly all the publishing rights to her incredible catalog of over 3,000 songs, a strategic masterstroke she made way back in 1966 by founding her own publishing company. Think about that for a moment. While other artists were signing away their futures, a young Dolly was securing hers. That catalog is now valued at over $150 million and pulls in an estimated $6 to $8 million in royalties every single year from standard streams alone. And that's before we even talk about her monster hits. Whitney Houston's version of "I Will Always Love You" has single-handedly generated over $20 million in royalties for Dolly. But music is just one piece of the puzzle. Her co-ownership in the Dollywood Company, a venture that includes the famous theme park attracting 3 million visitors annually, a water park, a resort, and dinner theaters, is valued at around $165 million. The company itself generates between $300 and $400 million in annual revenue. Then there are the consumer products, the Dolly Beauty makeup line, projected to make $20 million in its first year, the Doggy Parton pet line on Amazon, and her wildly popular food partnership with Duncan Hines. She even has a 2019 deal with IMG to license her brand on everything from apparel to home goods. This is a woman who turned her life and her likeness into a diversified, multi-industry powerhouse. She learned early on to retain full ownership, to leverage her iconic image, and to reinvest her profits not just for personal wealth, but to empower the very community she came from. But the most brilliant business move she ever made had nothing to do with a theme park or a baking mix. It came down to a single, powerful no she delivered to the king of rock and roll himself, a decision that secured her financial independence forever. Early life and career beginnings. Before the glitter, the glamour, and the global empire, there was just a one-room cabin on the banks of the Little Pigeon River in Pittman Center, Tennessee, in a dream. Dolly Rebecca Parton was born there on January 19, 1946, the fourth of 12 children to Avie Lee and Robert Lee Parton. You can almost feel the chill of the Smoky Mountain air and hear the whispers of ancient Welsh ballads that her mother, Avie Lee, would sing to entertain her children. Despite enduring 11 pregnancies in 20 years and suffering from poor health, she filled their home with folklore and hymns, planting the seeds of music deep in Dolly's soul. Her father, Lee, started as a sharecropper and worked tirelessly at a small tobacco farm and various construction jobs to provide for his massive family. Dolly has often said that while he was uneducated, he was one of the smartest men she ever knew when it came to business and making a profit, a trait she clearly inherited. For 6 or 7 years, the family lived off the land on Locust Ridge, a place that would later inspire her beloved song, My Tennessee Mountain Home. In fact, if you visit Dollywood today, you'll find a perfect replica of that very cabin, a constant reminder of her humble origins. Music was the air she breathed. By age 6, she was singing in her grandfather's Pentecostal church. At 7, she was playing a homemade guitar. And by 8, her uncle had gifted her a proper child-size Martin guitar. Her first real taste of the spotlight came at age 10, when she became a regular on Knoxville's Coss Walker show, appearing on both radio and television. The day after graduating from Sevier County High School in 1964, with a heart full of songs and a resolve of steel, she packed her bags and moved to Nashville to chase her destiny. It was a journey that had truly begun years earlier, at age 13, when she cut her first single, Puppy Love. For Gold Band Records, hearing that song on the radio for the first time confirmed everything she already knew. In her heart, she was born to be a star. She arrived in Nashville ready to work, but the city wasn't quite ready for her. When a young Dolly Parton arrived in Nashville in 1964, the city's gatekeepers didn't quite know what to do with her. Imagine having a voice that could stop traffic and a mind brimming with stories, only to be told that your sound, your very essence, isn't what the market wants. In 1965, she signed a deal with Combine Publishing, where, alongside her uncle and songwriting partner, Bill Owens, she began to make a name for herself by penning hits for other artists. Their compositions were pure country gold. Bill Phillips took their song, Put It Off Until Tomorrow, to the top 10 in 1966, and another hit, The Company You Keep, did the same the very next year. Skeeter Davis had a number 11 hit with their song Fuel to the Flame. Dolly was proving she had the Midas touch as a writer, yet her own recording career was being pushed in a completely different direction. That same year, at just 19, she landed a recording contract with Monument Records. But instead of letting her sing the heartfelt country music that flowed from her soul, the label tried to market her as a bubblegum pop singer. They gave her a series of non-country singles, hoping to catch the pop wave. Of them all, only one, Happy Birthday Baby, managed to chart, and even then, it failed to crack the prestigious Billboard Hot 100. It must have been incredibly frustrating, knowing the power of her own stories while being forced to sing someone else's. But Dolly's mountain-honed work ethic was relentless. As her reputation as a hit songwriter for others grew, Monument Records finally had to concede. They agreed to let her record the country music she was born to make, setting the stage for her first real country single just a year later. Her hard work was laying the foundation in the Nashville community, but it would take one specific person to see the fire behind the pop facade and catapult her into the national spotlight. His name was Porter Wagoner, and their relationship would change the course of her life for better and for worse. Iconic songs and rise to solo. Stardom. How did Dolly Parton write two of the most iconic songs in music history, Jolene and I Will Always Love You, in the exact same day? It's a burst of creative genius that most artists can only dream of, and it perfectly captures the moment she transformed from a promising songwriter into an unstoppable solo superstar. Her journey began to accelerate in 1967, when country star Porter Wagoner heard her single Dumb Blonde and invited her to join the Porter Wagoner Show. That same year, she released her debut album, Hello, I'm Dolly. But it was in the early 1970s that she truly found her voice and cemented her legacy. In 1971, she scored her first solo #1 hit on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart with Joshua, a captivating tale of Appalachian mystery and romance that proved she could command the charts on her own. Later that year came Coat of Many Colors, a deeply personal, autobiographical ballad about her impoverished childhood. The song, which peaked at number 4, became a cultural touchstone, resonating with millions for its powerful themes of family, faith, and pride. Then came the legendary day in 1973, fueled by a potent mix of professional turmoil and personal inspiration. She wrote Jolene. The song's haunting plea to a romantic rival topped the U.S. country chart in February 1974 and even crossed over to the Billboard Hot 100. On that very same day, she penned, "I Will Always Love You" as a poignant professional farewell to Porter Wagoner as she prepared to leave his show. That tender ballad would hit number 1 on the country charts not once, but twice first in 1974 and again in 1982. Its global takeover, of course, came with Whitney Houston's monumental 1992 rendition. Building on this incredible momentum, Dolly set her sights on the mainstream. In 1977, her recording of Here You Come Again, written by the legendary duo Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil, spent 5 weeks at the top of the country chart and became her first top 5 pop hit, peaking at number 3. This seamless crossover earned her a Grammy nomination and proved she could charm any audience. Then, in 1980, she delivered the ultimate crossover smash with 9 to 5. Written for the hit film she also starred in, The Empowering Anthem, with its clever typewriter beat percussion and feminist message, topped both the Hot 100 and the Hot Country Songs charts. Through these culturally resonant masterpieces, Dolly Parton strategically expanded her empire from the heart of country music to the top of the pop world, becoming a solo superstar whose legacy would echo for generations. And that iconic farewell song to Porter Wagoner would come back decades later in a way that not even Dolly could have predicted, making her millions. But that wasn't the only way she turned her art into an empire, as her move into Hollywood was just around the corner. Film and television career. She had conquered the world of music. The next logical step, Hollywood. But as Dolly soon discovered, her biggest on-screen success wasn't always going to be in front of the camera. In 1980, she burst onto the silver screen in the workplace comedy 9 to 5 as the unforgettable Dora Lee Rhodes. The film was a cultural phenomenon, grossing a massive $103.3 million worldwide on a modest $10 million budget, and cementing Dolly's status as a bona fide crossover star. 2 years later, she lit up the screen again as Mona Stangley in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which pulled in nearly $70 million and earned a Golden Globe nomination. However, not everything she touched turned to box office gold. The 1984 musical comedy Rhinestone, co-starring Sylvester Stallone, was a critical and commercial flop, earning just $21.4 million. But in true Dolly fashion, she still managed to spin success from it, as the soundtrack produced 2 top 10 country hits. She bounced back in a big way in 1989 with the ensemble dramedy Steel Magnolias, where she held her own alongside acting titans like Sally Field and Shirley MacLaine, proving her dramatic chops in a film that earned over $96 million worldwide. What's truly remarkable, and what most people completely miss, is what she was doing behind the scenes. Along with her business partner, Sandy Gallen, she co-owned Sandollar Productions. This wasn't some vanity project. They produced the Academy Award-winning documentary, Common Thread Stories from the Quilt, the sitcom Babes, and feature films like Father of the Bride and Sabrina. In one of the most surprising twists in Hollywood history, her company was also behind the wildly successful TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, She was an uncredited executive producer on a show that defined a generation. Her television career had, of course, started decades earlier on The Porter Wagoner Show, where she appeared in over 200 episodes. She later headlined her own variety shows and starred in a slew of TV movies and specials. More recently, through her Dixie Pixie Productions banner, she partnered with Netflix for the anthology series Dolly Parton's Heartstrings and continues to make charming guest appearances on shows like Grace and Frankie and The Orville. From producing hit TV shows to building an entertainment mecca in her own backyard, Dolly's business savvy extended far beyond the silver screen. Next, we'll look at the physical empire she built, brick by brick. Real estate portfolio. While most celebrities collect sprawling mansions in Beverly Hills, Dolly Parton has spent her life collecting pieces of her past, building an empire of real estate that's as much about heart and heritage as it is about investment. This isn't just about owning land, it's about holding on to her roots. Her connection to Sevierville, Tennessee, runs deeper than just memories. In 1984, her parents bought a 1,548 square foot farmhouse on 62 acres in Sevier County. After they passed, Dolly acquired the property in 2003, preserving her family's legacy. It was later listed as an event venue called Red Top for $3.5 million, a testament to turning heritage into a tangible asset. Her main residence, however, is a sprawling 63-acre estate in Brentwood, Tennessee, that she and her husband Carl Dean purchased in 1999 for a surprisingly modest $400,000. Known as Willow Lake Plantation, the property is a private sanctuary, complete with a 324 square foot main house, a large barn, a tennis court, a swimming pool, and even its own private chapel. It's here, in her music room, overlooking the rolling hills, that the global icon can be a homebody. Of course, her most famous real estate holding is the one that bears her name. As 50% owner of Dollywood, she holds a massive stake in a 168-acre theme park and a 150-acre amusement destination that includes a water park, a resort, and a dinner attraction, drawing nearly 3.8 million people a year to her beloved home region. Even her California properties tell a story. She owned a charming 1,000 square foot bungalow in West Hollywood, purchased for $1.2 million in 2007 that featured hand-painted country decor. And in a characteristically generous move, she donated her rustic 1,800 square foot mountain cabin in Idlewild, which she bought in 2000 into the Ronald McDonald House Charities in 2023. Public records show she holds at least 15 properties, a portfolio that perfectly balances emotional heritage, savvy investment in growing Tennessee suburbs, and the creative functionality of spaces designed for both her private life and her art. While her homes are a testament to her past, her garage holds a collection that speaks to her journey. Let's take a look at the classic cars that drove Dolly to stardom. Dolly Parton Car Collection. So, what kind of car does a rhinestone cowgirl drive? You might picture something flashy and over the top, but Dolly Parton's car collection is less about ostentation and more about American style, comfort, and personal milestones. Of course, it's filled with Cadillacs. The brand holds a special place in her heart, starting with the 1964 Cadillac Series 62 sedan, which was her high school graduation gift. For her, that car symbolizes the very beginning of her journey from the Smoky Mountains to global superstardom. For over a decade, her personal ride was a stunning 1997 Cadillac DeVille d'Elegance, a pearl white luxury sedan with a powerful 4.6-liter V8 engine under the hood. It was the perfect blend of comfort and performance, pure Dolly style. That car is now a centerpiece exhibit at the Hollywood Star Cars Museum, a piece of her history preserved for fans. Her loyalty to the brand was even honored by the company itself. In 2004, Cadillac created the one-of-a-kind Dolly Parton DTS Platinum Edition, a bespoke model featuring a brilliant white diamond exterior finish and her own signature emblems. Her everyday fleet shows she values a mix of American tradition and modern luxury. She's been spotted in a 2009 Cadillac Escalade Hybrid, an eco-conscious choice that doesn't sacrifice space or comfort. She also drives a Lincoln Nautilus, a more understated luxury SUV with a twin-turbocharged V6, and for when she needs a bit more power, a Mercedes-Benz GL Class AMG, a high-performance beast with a 621 horsepower twin-turbo V8. Her collection shows a practical yet stylish approach, choosing vehicles that are reliable, comfortable, and quintessentially American, much like the woman herself. But Dolly's wealth isn't just spent on herself. In fact, her most significant investments have been in something far more valuable than property or cars, people. And what she did after a devastating fire in her hometown will bring a tear to your eye. Philanthropy. In 2016, as devastating wildfires ravaged her beloved Great Smoky Mountains, displacing thousands of families and scorching the landscape of her childhood, Dolly Parton's response wasn't a simple press release or a token donation. It was a promise. This is the Dolly that inspires such fierce loyalty, the one who proves her heart is as big as her hair. She immediately created the My People Fund, and instead of navigating bureaucratic red tape, she did something radical. She gave money directly to those who had lost everything. The fund provided $1,000 per month for 6 months to approximately 900 displaced families. In total, she distributed $8.9 million directly from her foundation and donor contributions, offering a lifeline when people needed it most. But her generosity has been a defining characteristic for decades. In 1988, she launched the Dollywood Foundation to tackle her local high school's dropout rate, which stood at a staggering 35%. Her Buddy program offered cash incentives for students who graduated, and the rate plummeted to just 6%. Her most famous initiative, however, is the Imagination Library. Founded in 1995, this simple but profound program mails one free, age-appropriate book each month to every enrolled child from birth until they start school. To date, the Imagination Library has gifted over 200 million books worldwide. Independent studies confirm its incredible impact, showing that nearly 80% of parents report reading more with their children as a result. Her philanthropy extends to health as well. In 2020, she made headlines by donating $1 million to Vanderbilt University Medical Center for COVID-19 research. This seed money was instrumental in the early clinical trials of the Moderna vaccine. 2 years later, she donated another $1 million to Vanderbilt, this time to fund pediatric infectious disease research. She's even a champion for wildlife, having established the Eagle Mountain Sanctuary at Dollywood, a 30,000 square foot refuge for non-releasable bald eagles. Her generosity is as legendary as her music, but her public image hasn't been without its share of controversy. From her famously enhanced figure to her unapologetic style. Let's pull back the curtain on the Dolly the tabloids love to talk about. Lifestyle and scandals. If something is bagging, sagging, or dragging, I'll tuck it, suck it, or pluck it. Only Dolly Parton could be so refreshingly, brilliantly honest about plastic surgery. In a world where celebrities live in a state of perpetual denial, Dolly has always owned her look, treating cosmetic procedures not as a dirty secret, but as a tool of her trade. Her signature aesthetic is pure, unapologetic glamour, towering high heels, body-hugging outfits dripping with crystals, and bold statement jewelry. As she revealed in her book, Behind the Seams, My Life in Rhinestones, her style philosophy has always been to wear anything just a little bit different than everybody else. This led to iconic collaborations with designers like Bob Mackie and even her own jewelry lines with Kendra Scott. She has openly admitted to breast augmentation, reductions, facelifts, Botox, and fillers, calling them miracles of plastic surgery. Of course, this candor hasn't shielded her from controversy. Critics and some medical professionals have voiced concerns about the risks, from potential autoimmune issues linked to silicone to the damage from repeated facelifts. Her famously large bust, once a 42D, has been both a cornerstone of her persona and a source of chronic back pain. In 2012, she had to postpone a tour due to back problems caused by, as she put it, wagging these puppies around. She even faced a medical emergency in 1992 when an implant ruptured, but Dolly's response has always been one of cheerful defiance. When faced with ageist backlash for wearing a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader outfit at age 77, complete with hot pants and a cropped top, she famously told her critics to go to hell. She insists that self-expression has no expiration date and that with the best doctors, risk can be minimized. For Dolly, her look is inseparable from her brand and intentionally constructed image of high glamour country that she has maintained with wit and unwavering confidence for over half a century. But before she became this icon of self-acceptance, she was locked in a professional and personal battle with the man who discovered her. The story of her breakup with Porter Wagoner is a Hollywood drama in itself. The Porter-Wagoner relationship. The man who gave Dolly Parton her big break also became her biggest obstacle. It's a classic, almost mythical story in country music history. The powerful mentor and the brilliant protege who eventually outgrows his shadow. In 1967, Porter Wagoner, an established country star, invited a 21-year-old Dolly Parton to become the new girl singer on his popular television show. The partnership was immediately fruitful, producing a string of hit duets and popular albums like Just the Two of Us. For 7 years, they were one of country music's most visible and successful pairs. But beneath the surface, creative friction was building. Dolly's star was rising meteorically. Her songwriting was reaching new heights, and her desire for solo autonomy was growing stronger each day. By 1974, she knew she had to leave to fully realize her own potential. It was a painful and difficult decision, and to express her feelings, she wrote a song for him, a simple, heartfelt farewell that just happened to be, "I Will Always Love You." Wagoner, however, did not see it as a beautiful tribute. He saw it as a betrayal and a breach of contract. Their professional breakup turned ugly, culminating in a bitter lawsuit filed by Wagoner in 1979 for $3 million, a massive sum at the time. The suit was eventually settled out of court, but it created a period of estrangement between the two. It's a testament to both of them that they were ultimately able to reconcile. They reunited for recordings later in life. And when Porter Wagoner was on his deathbed in 2007, Dolly was by his side, holding his hand. Theirs was a complex bond forged in music, ambition, conflict, and, ultimately, an enduring and profound respect. This tumultuous professional partnership stands in stark contrast to the one true constant in her life, a fiercely private, 58-year marriage to a man almost no one has ever seen. Now, let's meet the man behind the superstar, Carl Dean. Personal life for 58 years, Dolly Parton lived two lives, one as a global superstar, bathed in spotlights and adored by millions, and another as a quiet country girl, living a life of simple devotion in private. The anchor of that private life was Carl Thomas Dean, the man she met outside a Nashville laundromat in 1964. She was an 18-year-old dreamer, just arrived in town. He was a 21-year-old who ran an asphalt paving business. 2 years later, on May 30th, 1966, they drove to Ringgold, Georgia, and were married in a small, private ceremony with only her mother as a witness. The story of Dolly and Carl is one of entertainment's greatest and most private love stories. He saw her for who she was before the fame, and that's all that ever mattered. From the very beginning, Carl steadfastly avoided the spotlight. He reportedly attended only one of her performances, deciding early on that the world of show business wasn't for him. He preferred to support her from the shadows, being the steadiest grounding force in her whirlwind life. Dolly often shared that his quiet nature, surprise poems, and spontaneous gestures were the secret to their incredibly enduring bond. To celebrate their 50th anniversary in 2016, they renewed their vows, finally having the big celebration they never had the first time. On March 3rd, 2025, Carl Dean passed away in Nashville at the age of 82, bringing an end to a remarkable 58-year partnership. While they never had children of their own, they were instrumental in raising several of Dolly's younger siblings, becoming Aunt Granny and Uncle Peepaw to a host of nieces and nephews. Dolly is also the godmother to singer Miley Cyrus, continuing her role as a matriarch. Her life, much like her music, has always been guided by a deep and abiding faith, rooted in the Pentecostal church of her childhood. It's a spirituality that has informed everything from her songwriting to her world-renowned philanthropy. Her home life on their Brentwood estate was a reflection of her values, a place for gardening, cooking, and quiet weekends in an RV with Carl, far from the stage lights. From the one-room cabin on the Little Pigeon River to a global icon, Dolly Parton built an empire not just on talent, but on authenticity, business savvy, and a heart as golden as her hit records. Her story is a masterclass in how to be a superstar without ever losing sight of who you are. From her timeless music to her brilliant business empire, Dolly Parton proves that true luxury is the freedom to build a legacy. If you want more stories about the world's most fascinating fortunes, make sure you subscribe to Lifeofluxuro and hit the notification bell. And click here to watch our breakdown of another celebrity's shocking net worth. Thanks for watching.